Good afternoon, my friends. It's Simon down here from Two-Way Digital, and we're still talking about what can you expect from SEO. And today the topic is how quickly can I get SEO results? So if you're watching live, give me a hashtag live in the comments below if you don't mind. If you'd like to like this video, that'd be much appreciated. If you're watching through YouTube, please feel free to subscribe and you'll get notifications of upcoming videos. And if you've got any questions, throughout or at the end, please do feel free to ask. More than happy to answer any questions that you've got. So how quickly can you get results with SEO? Well, you're not going to like the answer to this, but it depends. It depends where your site is. So how new is your site? Although that's not necessarily a factor, it is a factor. It's not the biggest. How much content have you got? How well optimized is it? How long have you been producing content for? How much SEO understanding do you have, or have you been using somebody else to get it? So there are lots of things that contribute to ranking on the search engines, and depending on what you have or haven't done over how long will be a factor. But there's also other external things as well. So how difficult is the keyword that you're trying to rank for in terms of competition? How many other people are creating content? How well have they done it? How good is their SEO? So all of these things are a factor to how quickly you can get results using SEO. But there are ways that you can do certain things. So for example, when you're doing your analysis, you might spot if you've created a good list of keywords, you might spot some gaps where there isn't much content, but there's still some search volume for it. And so therefore, if you create content around that topic and you do everything else right, then it could potentially rank quite quickly. I mean, you could get results in as little as a week, 10 days, 2 weeks. If it's slightly more competitive and you do a good enough job again, I mean, you could certainly be seeing results from optimizing existing content within a few weeks. That's perfectly doable. But it does depend on what everybody else is doing, how much competition there is, and all the rest of it. So let's just say, for example, let's go to the world of make-believe for a minute, and let's say that you've done some SEO in the past, and all of your technical SEO for your website is perfect. All of your page speed and your usability and all of the optimization has been done, and all of your business citations are done. The search engines trust you because your business is out there. It can be found. It's got lots of ways of getting in touch with you and all the rest of it. All those trust factors that search engines also look for, which are ranking factors. And then you go to an agency. Let's say you come to us and you say, right, we want loads of new content. We want you to do some get some high quality backlinks, and we want you to do blogger releases and press distributions and get some safe second tier promotions, and all of these things that have to be done for SEO to work really well, and we want you to do that for a month. And so all of the content gets released, and it gets released very quickly. So let's say a week, 10 days, and we start doing all the backlinks, and we're doing all the press releases and distribution of the content. And doing that, sure, you're likely going to see some gains in rank. It's going to improve the quality of your overall web score. The DA, it's an arbitrary figure that is come up with by some of the search engine marketing tools that gives an indication of how well new content will rank. So you'll see your DA come up, and you'll get some rankings on some bits of content. But then if all of a sudden you only do that for a short time, and then you don't do anything else, and you're back to the previous a piece of content every now and again and minor updates, to the search engines, that's going to look quite suspicious. It almost looks like you're just trying to game the system. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get hit with a ban for ranking or anything like that, but it's not going to do as well as if you released all of that content on a more regular schedule and made it look a lot more natural, and the backlinks coming in look like they're organic rather than paid for, which over that short period of time most of them would almost have to certainly be. And if they're tagged as paid backlinks, they're not going to be as effective as if you get them over building relationships over a longer time. So yeah, sure, it can be done. And if essentially anything that you do in this world, you can pay to speed up the process, and that's a given with SEO. You can pay to get all your content and all the backlinks and all the rest of it done for you, but it's got to be something that looks kind of natural to the search engines, and it's got to be something that appears like you're doing it because it's a benefit for your business and the people that use your business, rather than just for the sake of getting rankings, because essentially that goes against certainly Google's terms of service and their webmaster guidelines. The whole point of rankings, as we've already discussed, is not ranking for the sake of ranking. It is not seen, it's not looked upon favorably. The point of ranking is to give the user the best possible experience. So the content that you're creating needs to be, really on point, focused, helpful, and the best thing that the search engines can serve up to their users based on the searches that they perform. So yes, you can get faster results, but you really don't want to be doing it overnight. And doing it overnight is, unless you're going to start out at that high intensity and keep it on for a long period of time, like months if not years, then it potentially will come across the search engines as fake, and you won't get the full benefit of it. The other problem with doing really high volumes of content is you're eventually going to run out of things to talk about. I mean, there's only so much around your industry that you're going to be able to talk about. Now, obviously, you can go sideways and dip into other services and go, maximum content for each service that you provide. But you don't want to start competing with yourself on keywords. And that's a problem that some websites have, is where they've got so much content, they write a piece of content and they're competing with themselves for ranking between old content and new content. And that's going to happen if you're creating huge amounts of content. So, really making a big impact in a short amount of time with SEO, I would recommend against doing. Now, it may sound like we're talking ourselves out of a sale here, but really the whole point of SEO is to think of it, putting it into your business as a long-term strategy, as a part of your business, as a part of your growth and your brand building exercise. And that's going to get you the best results over a long period of time, because it will show the search engines that you're a constant producer of high quality material, and other people, the external backlinking factors, are going to be sharing that content and essentially helping you rank. But it just isn't something that you want to be looking at as a short-term thing, like paid ads, for example. I mean, sure, you can go and do a short burst of 2, 3, 4 weeks of huge amounts of spend on paid ads all around the web, and it will have very little adverse effect on your website. But if you do the same with SEO, first, you're not going to get the full benefit of it, and secondly, if you over egg it, you could potentially end up getting a short ban until they see that this is either something that you're going to be consistent at and producing over a long amount of time, or maybe it might tail off a bit and slow down a bit, but you're still producing that high volume of quality content. So how soon can you get results? Well, the answer is very soon, depending on what you've already got. If you've got a lot of great content, but it's just not optimized, you could actually get results very, very quickly, just by going through the full optimization process on SEO. But if you don't have much content and you'll look at producing a lot of it to try and get to that point of being, highly desirable website with lots of content that's going to rank well, that needs to be a longer term project, and it's not something that we'd recommend you do over a short amount of time, unless you've got a serious amount of cash, and it's we're talking potentially several £1,000s a month for you to be putting into your SEO service, content creation, and all of the the other services that go to supporting that. and keeping that up over a very long period of time. If that's what you're looking to do, then yes, of course, that can work as well. It will speed up your SEO rankings, your the domain authority, as well as your individual pieces of content, and ultimately you'll come to dominate your market. That's just the way it's going to be. So I hope that's of some use to you. You can get results quickly depending on where you're at, but if you're at the beginning, not so much. If you've got a good established site but it's just not optimized, you can actually get some results quite quickly. So what I would recommend is that you actually get an audit done for SEO, for your content and your site, and just see where exactly you are. So that's it for today's lesson. I hope you have found it helpful. I'll see you again tomorrow, but until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now and take care.